All right, so what I have going on here is I'm going to set up the animator for the character. I have the first person arms in and I have the body in. And right now this is the walk animation. You're not actually going to see that because this is really obnoxious and you don't want to see this when you're, in your first person perspective. But if I were to go ahead and show you the body here, if I can find my character. Okay, my character's not actually spawned in. That's another thing, is I'm actually going to move the first person arms to the character instead of putting it directly under the camera because you see it whether your character is spawned or not. So I'm going to go ahead and just hide these arms real quick. And I'm going to enable him. And you can see I have tested a walk animation and it looks super goofy. Something's not right with the avatar, I'm guessing, but that's fine. So I need to, I suppose, first fix that. So let's see what we got going on here with that. I imagine the avatar is probably wrong. Well, it's using the robot avatar, which I know is right. I've actually seen this bug before, and it's something with animations you get from Mixamo, and you fix it by, I'm pretty sure, tweaking the avatar settings and then reusing an avatar. I'm not going to worry about that right now because I don't recall the fix right at the top of my head, and I don't want to waste your time. So for now, I'm just going to work on setting up the animation scripts and the animator. Let me go ahead and exit play mode. I'm just going to call it Animator Controller. And I need to open up my prefab. Another thing I have to do is I desperately need to reorganize my project. It is not pretty right now. Okay. Up here below the animator, that's where I prefer to keep my controller script. Open it up. Hey, how you doing? Sorry, I just now noticed the chat. I was trying to get things going. Definitely had some issues going on. So bring this back. I need to make this a network behavior because depending on whether I'm the owner or a spectator is how I'm going to handle the animations. And the reasoning for that is because I'm going to have two animator controllers or two animator components basically. I'm going to have one on the arms and I'm going to have one on the body, but they're going to run the exact same animations for the same for the most part. So let me just get this set up and I'll show you what I'm talking about it. All right, so basically my plan is to have two animators like this. You're going to have one on the arms and then one on the body. And this is pretty typical when you're doing a first person setup where you also have to have a third person animator. Most people run two different animation controllers. So what I mean by that is a controller script right here. So they usually make one that's different for each, for both the body and the arms. And that sounds like extra work to me, and I don't like extra work. If I can do something a better way or a more easier way that doesn't really cost any performance or readability or things like that, I'm going to do it. So my solution, or at least what I theorize as an idea, is I'm going to have these two different animators, and if I am a spectator, I'm going to forward all of the values to the third person animator. However, if I am the owner, I'm only going to forward some animations to the first person, and I'm going to filter those animations out to ones that are strictly related to the arms. So how am I going to do that? Pretty easily, actually. I'm going to have some methods in here that are something like this. And I'll just do a vector 2. Actually, I'm going to do a vector 3 so I can pass it in exactly as it is from the motor. And I would do if base dot, well, first of all, if it's a server only, I'm not going to do anything because I don't care. I don't want to animate on the server. There's no reason to. Actually, I do want to animate on the server so that the hitboxes are accurate. So if base dot is server or not base dot has authority. So in other words, if I'm the server or if I'm the spectator, and I should probably change this to, actually no, we'll keep it like that. Then I'm going to go ahead and run on third person. I'm just going to comment it real quick, third person. Then this is going to run the third person animator because I want to other people to see that. Otherwise, I'm just going to do if base dot is client and base dot has authority, then do nothing because I don't have any reason to update the movement direction because that's only going to affect the legs basically. And do you see your legs in first person? Well, we don't have full body awareness, so the answer is no. The other thing I have to do is add in like firing triggers. So I'm going to do public void set trigger. And this is where it gets tricky because I'm going to have to basically stack everything in here for all of my animator settings. And I can't like just call one by name and hope it works because I have to have a way to filter out if the trigger is needed for third person or first person. So I think I'm just going to stack it all up in here because it's not going to really be a lot, you know, there can only be so many things that I need. I need to actually do private to explain how to implement auto matchmaking. I will not be doing that, I'm sorry. That's something that Mirror doesn't support yet, although they are working on that. They have a matchmaking channel. I would bug them in there. Until they get that done, though, it's not something I'll be covering. All right, so private string, and I'm going to call it, we'll just say fire trigger hash. And I'm going to do animator dot string to hash, and I'm going to call it fire. So this is going to set, oh, it's an int. That was dumb of me. So this is going to set the hash so that I can compare the hash and I don't have to pass in the string every time, which will be less efficient. Yeah, well, whenever I see it drop, I'll take a look at it for sure. And now I'm going to do, I'm probably going to filter these on a per trigger basis. So I'll do if, or actually, yeah, I'll use if statements. If hash equals fire trigger hash, then I want to show the fire on both the third person and the owner as well, or third and first person. So then I'm just going to go ahead and animate it here. Now I need to actually go and set up my animator. I just wanted to show you an example of how I was going to do this. All right, so right now I don't really have much of an animator. I just have the pistol idle, and then I have a walking animation. So I guess I need to look at my other animations. I know right away that these are probably going to be turned the wrong way. So I need to make sure they're looped, and I need to fix the rotation as original. Looks right, so I'm going to go ahead and hit apply. Same thing for this one. This is a loop. And it's not giving me the other options because the rig's not set to humanoid. So I got to do that real quick. I'm going to leave that as is, the avatar. I don't care about that right now. I'll fix it later. Let me see if this one changes. Yeah, so see how he's kind of facing the wrong way? Sometimes you have to click the original to get it to face the right way. That's something you'll see a lot whenever you download other animations. And if they're floating, you can always like adjust the height offset and things like that. All right, so I don't actually have an idle animation. I have my aim animation, which is he's pretty stiff. I could use that, I suppose. But I think that's my old one. That's not the one I made. That's a really bad one I downloaded. Mine are actually in here. And yeah, he's pretty stiff, but I'll fix that up later. I just kind of want to get the animator set up. So the first thing I need to do is I need to add that as an entry one, and I don't have that set up yet. So I'm going to go and add entry mode. Okay, so I actually got this from free 3D model, and there are so many separate meshes on it. Again, I'm going to replace this, but right now I just needed something I could basically set up animations and test it. It is surprisingly difficult to find a model that is like a low poly human that's rigged properly and works in Unity. I don't know why it's so complicated. I feel like it shouldn't be, but it is. Everything I pulled down just had one problem or another, and I have to make some of my own animations, and they just weren't working in Blender at times. I actually need to make a blend tree. This is going to be for movement. And you'll notice I have a base layer for my full body, and then my upper body where only the arms will be manipulated. Let me go ahead and set this as a default state. And first thing I need to do is add some parameters. Add a float. I call it horizontal. Add another float. Call it forward. Don't actually need this one. So I need to have a 2D. And I need to add a motion field. The first one's going to be if it's completely idle. So I need to go back to my robot here, and I'm going to use the pistol aim for the idle one just to kind of get it up and running. The first step of this is going to be making it so that only one weapon works with the animator and everything syncs up properly. And then once I have that working, I will probably move on to something else like firing or things like that, and then I'll work on adding additional guns. So I got the idle one in there. That's 0, 0. That's proper. I need to add another one, and these are going to be from my regular animations. So let me just rename this because this is a little walk forward. Okay, so let me go ahead and apply and drop that in there. And it doesn't actually rename in the hierarchy unless you switch out and back in. Add another one in here. Did I rename the wrong thing? I did. I renamed the wrong thing, didn't I? No, I didn't. It's just funny. There we go. All right. The walk backward is going to be 0 on X and -1 on Y. Walk forward is 0 on X and 1 on Y. Idle, of course, is 0, 0. And I have a strafe, so I'm just going to rename that real quick. Pistol, or I'll just name it strafe. I'm probably going to use the same one for everything, as in the same feet movement for all weapons is what I meant. Okay, and the strafe is going to actually going to have 2 strafes, because I need one for when he's strafing left and one for when he's strafing right. All right, so if I did this right, and if I hit play, right now everything's 0, 0, so that's expected. Okay, so I guess it's strafing left by default. I need to switch that one. Yeah, actually I need to switch this one. There we go. So this is strafe left, this is strafe right. Perfect. Okay, so let's see if I got the forward working right. It appears to be working. If I get the backwards, let's see if that's right. Again with the wonky feet, but I will fix that. And I'm not too worried about the gun being funny like that. That's something to do with the wrist motion. The layers should override that, because that's part of the pistol animation, is the wrist is turned kind of funny. So if I go to my upper body, it should be fine. All right, let's test it out real quick, should we? Again, I'm going to just go to my camera, turn that off, and go to my main player. And I'm going to turn on my robot. Hopefully it's animating. Okay, it's standing still. That's expected. Look at the grip on that pistol and the hand over the other hand. Is that not like a perfect pose or what? I spent way too long making that. I don't want to talk about it. This is the one I made. That's why it's like fits so well to the weapon. But yeah. Now let's go into the animator and let's actually manipulate those values by hand and see if it's working right. Okay, so that is, it looks like the loop on that strafe animation is garbage. So that's not, I guess I need to find out where it's looping at, and that's something I'll have to do later. All right, so that seems to be working-ish. All right, so that's the walk forward minus the goofy feet. And that's supposed to be the walking back minus the goofy feet. So you can already see like how many issues there are with just dropping in and using animation. This is a total pain. All right, so now I need to go back here and set this up. I need to add some more hashes. Let's say horizontal. I'm actually not going to include the trigger text because I don't think I need that. Because you're only going to use a string name once. Okay. Horizontal hash equals animator dot string to hash horizontal. I need a public int forward hash equals animator dot string to hash. And this is basically hashing the hashes for you. If you set a string on the animator, it's basically calculating the hash every time you do that. This is caching it, so it's a little more efficient. And I don't know if I need these all public right now. I'm just going to make them public at this time. So if third person, I definitely want to update the horizontal hash. So I'm going to do, oh, actually I should probably get a reference to the animator, huh? Private void awake. I already have a reference to the animator. I am just so out of it today. All right, so this is going to apply it to the third person animator. I'm going to set float, and I'm going to do, first I'm going to do horizontal hash. I'm going to set that to direction.x. And now I'm going to do the same thing, but for the forward. So I'm going to do direction.y. Actually, I think the input's z. Let me check. I'm pretty sure I'm using z for that. I'm just going to make sure. Yeah. So I need to actually change that over to z. There we go. And like I said, first person, I'm not going to copy that. So I'm going to actually, just to make sure that this is working, I'm going to paste this code into both. And then I need to go into the motor. And I'm very lazily just going to run in some test code here. Let's see, animator controller. Let's call it AC equals get component animator controller. I'm going to do AC dot set movement direction, and I'm actually going to do this. This code's not being used right now. I'm actually going to do this right here. I'm going to pass in direction, and that should work. So let me test it out real quick. First, I should see the weird movement on my arms because I have it set for first and third person. Whoa! Okay, that's not normal. I forgot to set the animator component. That's no big deal though. You're very welcome. Thank you for watching, and I'm glad you like them. All right, so third person animator. Drop that sucker in there, and obviously I don't need these visible. Again, testing, clean it up later. All right. So I feel like my arms should be moving right now, but they're not. So what's going on with that? Let me move the animator over here. Let me go on the main player. Let me check the floats. Oh, yeah, that's that out of there. That's weird that they're showing a horizontal value when there's no horizontal value. Is it because I am mouse input? Wow, that is interesting. I did not know that was a thing. Did I make a really stupid mistake? Get access raw horizontal. It's including a mouse movement. I didn't know that was a thing. Let me look at the project settings real quick, because I did not set that manually, and I don't remember that being a default thing. Input manager, axis, horizontal. Key or mouse button. Okay, that's weird. That is so weird. Why is it picking up the mouse data? I'm going to just Google this real quick. Because it should be under mouse X right here. And it should have the mouse movement option selected. And since this is key or mouse button, it shouldn't be picking up the mouse, but it is. So that's incredibly weird. I feel like that might be a bug. I'm going to fix that real quick. Yeah, I'm just gonna change the code real quick because I feel like that's a bug. I will look into that later though. So I'm gonna do this instead. If input dot, actually I'm gonna do float 4 equals 0 f. If input dot get key code dot a -1, else if input dot get key code dot d equals 1f. Okay. I have never seen that behavior before ever in a project where the looking direction was affecting the access input read. That is really bizarre, and I want to say it's a bug because I've never seen that before. All right, so now if I move, all right, and it looks like the Ford is doing the same thing as well. I wonder if it's because I am transforming the direction like an idiot. It's not a bug. I'm just really, really dumb sometimes. So I'm going to undo that. Actually, I need to have my vertical in there. So basically the reason it's doing that is because I'm transforming the direction. It's not a Unity bug. I'm just special. All right, so let's do this. I feel like Dumb and Dumber. You idiot! Okay. Try one more time. Yeah, now it's working as expected when you do things right. Okay, so go ahead and turn the body back on. See that is correct. The arms are going to look funny because I'm not using the first person camera. Walking is working. Strafing is working. Yeah, so once I fix those animations, it'll actually look pretty decent. And you can see the hands aren't moving because I am overriding it with the layer. The hands are actually really solid. So if I were to do a build right now, I think this will work fine. Let's try that out. No, the arms were, they looked like that because I hide the body in third person. I have a separate set of arms in first person, but I turned them off just so I could see the body. That was intentional behavior. I did actually already adjust the clip plane though. All right, come on, get this over here. Light. All right, where's my player at? Why is he floating? Apparently, I broke something at one point. Looks like this is the issue. So something's trying to call move on the controller when it's not active. Which is that? I must have disabled the controller somewhere in my code when I shouldn't have. So I'll just fix that at some other time. Really easy solution, though, I'm sure. I won't worry about it. I will look after this, though. So, as I was saying, if I now move, looks like the animations are not syncing up over the network, but that's actually to be expected because I don't have an animator component on there. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. Actually, let me find out why that's getting disabled. I have a feeling I disable it somewhere on here. For my controller. Where is my controller? Here we go. References. Okay. So that's why it's not doing it. All right. The reason is because I joined as a client host, and I think it totally screwed it up. So if base has authority or base.is server, that way it will initialize the controller on the server as well, the other client. All right, so let's go ahead and go back to the project real quick. And I've never actually used this component before. I'm probably not going to use it, to be honest, because I prefer to have certain animations behave other ways. Like I would want some to snap to the animation, and I'm going to want some to smoothly move to the animation. So I'm probably not going to actually use this in the end, just to get it up and running. Are you talking about the, Steven, are you talking about the input axis things? Yeah, that was just me making a really noob mistake. It happens. Not gonna lie, I do it at least like 10 times a day. Making mistakes isn't really bad as long as you recognize your mistake and you can fix it pretty quick. What really kind of sucks is when you make a mistake and you waste hours trying to fix it, and then you find out it's just like something really dumb like I did before. All right, so the network animator. Yeah, I mean, I can give it a shot. I just don't know how it works internally right now, so I'd have to look at it. This is working well. So the animations are garbage, and this is what I was talking about actually. You see how it just like, yeah, that was embarrassing. You notice how it just like snaps from moving to idle without like really any blending half the time? That's what I'm talking about. So I'm guessing it's syncing values as is without any blending, and this is an example of where I would probably want blending. So if I were to go to my main player here and enable this guy here, and you're going to see double arms for now because I have on both of the things, so try to ignore that. But oh, this one's snapping too because I'm actually snapping the value, so that might be something I'll have to do internally. Yeah, that's my fault. That's no big deal though. Right now it seems to actually be working, and yeah, I'm pretty happy so far with the results. So what do I do from here? Well, I don't really have a firing animation yet. I suppose I could whip one up real quick. Although I don't have a firing ability, so that'd be kind of pointless, wouldn't it? Why don't I instead smooth the movements on these settings here? I'm going to go to my animation controller. I'm going to do private void. Actually, this is going to be tricky because I'm going to have to make sure I only do this if I'm the owner. Well, I guess it's not that tricky, is it? Private void smooth floats. Smooth floats, which must not change abruptly. Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to do smooth floats and do if base dot is client, because it's client auth right now on the animator controller. I will actually be making it server auth. That's probably another reason I won't be using it, but I don't know. I'll have to think about it. It's kind of too far ahead to plan for that right now. So I do private vector 3. I'm going to do a null vector 3. Target direction. The reason I'm making it null is because, actually, you know what? I don't care. I don't need to make it null. I had something going in my head and I was thinking about it, but then I changed my mind. So if not the authoritative client, then exit the method, because I don't want to always smooth a 0 vector 3, because this is only going to be set if I'm the authoritative client. I'm gonna think about it, I probably have to change this code as well. I'm gonna use a smooth rate of 1. That's probably gonna be fine. I actually want a distance to be a minimum of 1. That way it doesn't just like, I'll explain it after I put in the code so you guys have a better idea of what I'm talking about. So third person animator dot how I want it to do this. I think I'll use .get float horizontal hash and target direction .x minus. All right, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the distance it takes between what the current horizontal hash or float value is in the animator from the target, and that's going to be a minimum of 1. So that way it will smooth it over quicker the further away it is. So now I'm just going to do set float mathf.move towards, and I'm going to do, I'm just going to actually do float current equals. Make my code a little bit easier to read, and I'm going to use this. I'm going to use current target.x, and for the rate, I'm going to use rate times distance times, I'm actually going to cache delta time. All right, so that's going to move on the horizontal one, and it should smooth it out. I'm going to do the same thing with the forward. I just have to do a little copy and pasta here. Hey Matt, how's it going? For now, I'm just going to put it like that. This wouldn't be an issue if you were using regular axes. So in my motor, I'm using get axis raw, or get axis raw somewhere. Basically, I'm going to get the sign value between -1, 0, and 1. So I have to manually blend it myself. The reason I don't use the ones that can contain the values in between is because one, that sends extra network traffic, because it's going to, well, it's going to try and send the change every time, even if it's incrementing. And 2, because that is way, way, way harder to synchronize on the server. Because you're going to have those little bit of variances where the server ticks a little bit faster and it's going to climb that rate maybe faster or slower or whatever, and you're going to end up in desync quite frequently. So that's why I use the raw version, which gives me the sine value. Let's see, let me go back to here. Turn this on. Walking, and I broke something. What did I break? Oh, get it. Oh. All right, so one, I think I called X twice. Secondly, it's working, it's just going way too slow. So that's not really a big deal. All right, so let's see what I did. Get float forward hash. Right, there it is. That's where I made my mistake. And let's bump up the rate to like 5. I feel like 1 is way too slow. Gonna turn it back on. There we go. Now the snapping is gone. Again, the animations are garbage, so I'll have to fix that. Hence the weird walking. I know how to fix it. I just have to do it. But yeah, now the blending is good, and I bet let me run that over the network and see what happens. All right, client host. Move this on over. I'm stuck on a cone. Okay. I'm going to be doing level design next, by the way. Once I probably fix the animations and stuff off screen. All right, so it's not really snapping now. It looks okay. Again, the animations are bad, so it looks really silly. But you notice how much smoother it were in the client hosts, but it's syncing over the network a little more janky. So like if I were to close this, and if I were to show my character here and do this, you see how it's way more smooth? That's because the and I had a feeling that's because the network animator here doesn't smooth the parameters and doesn't have the option to. So it's only syncing every 100 milliseconds, and it's just snapping to those values, and it looks stupid ugly. So probably what I'll do instead is I'm gonna write my own network animator to speak, or so to speak. I'm gonna instead send in things like this, like the target direction, and that way it will blend locally on other clients. So I'll probably knock out this part here and just let it blend on its own locally. And that will make it a lot smoother, and it might actually even save me a bit of network traffic too, because it's not syncing every 100 milliseconds. It's just going to send the target direction, which is 1 send instead of like 10 sends or whatever. So that should actually help out tremendously. And I think that's probably all I'm going to do for this stream. I have to do some tinkering and figure out what is wrong with those animations. Again, I know it's something related to the avatar, just don't recall off the top of my head. So I'm going to fix that up. I'm going to move the FPS arms over to my character, because right now they're under the camera, and I do not like that, because I should not be seeing arms if my character is not spawned in. So I'm going to fix that and tidy up this code here. This actually isn't too bad, but fix it up. I'm going to clean up the project. So basically a lot of lawn work, I guess. I'm just gonna clean things up mostly. And I don't know, maybe I'll do another stream later. I'm not 100% sure yet, but more than likely we'll be doing one tomorrow. But that's it for now. Thanks for joining.